What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Grind Force Gaming. Nova here again with DatSkat, of course. DatSkat, what's up?
How we all doing, guys?
We wanted to just hop on this call together today to talk about the new fighter release, and that is Gouken. And the reason we thought this would be a good idea is because, well, obviously reviewing a new fighter is important, but DatSkat and I talked about this earlier today, and we both had very differing opinions on whether or not Gouken is someone that you should be considering. Isn't that right, Skat?
Oh, that's 100% correct, Nova.
And why is that? What was if you could, in one sentence, why did we disagree?
Because we wanted different things out of this fighter. And I think that's where this fighter really, you know, okay, guys, here's the deal. If you're doing special summons, you need to stick with who you choose. So either you're saving tickets or you've chosen a fighter. What you don't want to do is start building all of these special summon fighters to A or S plus. You really want to take one of these fighters all the way.
Yep.
And therefore, you really need to be dedicated and make a long-term decision here.
So it's really annoying when a new fighter comes out that's you need to actually look at and think, like, has the priority changed? So coming from me as someone who's currently saving all of his special summon tickets, I have like 430 or 450 of them right now.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at this event coming up and saying, okay, well, if he's not good, if he's not game breaking, then I'm just going to go all in on Evil Ryu. And now the problem here that I have is the need to weigh options on fighter purpose and usability. And Skat, I think you made a really strong point to this before, is that both fighters, so this was before we hopped on this call to do this video, but both fighters shine in a different area, right?
Mm-hmm.
And explain that to me again.
Yeah, so I think I went the route to build Evil Ryu. So I'm all in on Evil Ryu. And, it's a grind, guys. It is what it is. However, after using Gouken in the trials, I really started to see a lot of benefit to keeping Trendy Cammy alive, or your main damage dealer at that, but specifically Trendy Cammy, because she is kind of squishy, and what she really needs to do is stay on the field for getting these boss fights done in Crusade. She needs to stay on the field to get massive damage for Path of Fire.
Sure.
And if you have her slotted in on a third team or even a team down the line in a 3-team event, then solidifying the tank role for one of those teams, maybe your second team or your third team, is just going to be Gouken.
Yeah.
It really is. And so I saw a use case for him for multiple different facets of the game, especially when trying to chase rewards down for these events that keep coming up where you have a 3-team lineup.
I was just going to say that.
And I think that's where Gouken is really going to shine, guys, as the answer for your next tank.
Because, well, so for a long time, everyone was saying Evil Ryu was like the pull. Like he was the like SSS tier, the God tier, whatever you want to call it, as far as the banner or the special summons were concerned. But now you got to kind of think about it as like, what do you want to do in the game?
What do you want to do?
Do you want to rock it in just like straight up arena? Do you want to do really well in HWA because your winning team carries forward? Whereas like in Super Showdown, it's just each team fights each other. There's not a winning team that continues on.
Correct.
That was my initial concern with Gouken, was that he's coming into the game with a mechanic that's already hard countered by Evil Ryu. So anyone that's already built Evil Ryu coming up against people who are working on Gouken, that ability that he has to resist fatal damage and heal and shield and carry that on and apply that to his teammates as well is negated by Evil Ryu. So at first, I'll be honest with you, I read his kit and I was like, they made a special summon fighter that has an immediate hard counter that's already been in the game. It just kind of didn't make sense to me. But the more we talked about it, the more I I see DatSkat side where I think to myself, like, well, what is more important? Doing really well in events for the like situational rewards that you can get, or doing well in PvP? Like,
And
what's better?
yeah, and I think, if your goal as somebody, as an individual playing Street Fighter Duel, is to do well in HWA, I think that Evo Ryu is the better pull.
Okay.
But if your goal is to be doing well on these daily events that come out on the ladder matches, in Banner, in Crusades, all these things that we do daily to give yourself rewards, getting a better reward for time spent each day carries far more weight than it does doing really well in one event
Right.
or a few other events.
Sure.
Now, I'm not saying, like, I'm not going to abandon Evo Ryu and switch to Gouken. That's a mistake.
Yeah. Don't
I'm
do
gonna
that.
I'm gonna keep building Evo Ryu until he is SSS, and then maybe I start pulling for Gouken at that point.
Yeah.
But I'm at least gonna get him to SSS before I make a switch. But my goodness, the Gouken trendy cami play is a serious play, guys.
Yeah.
Like, how many Crusade matches have I gone through with my built-up trendy cami, and just to have her die early?
Right. And the
Like,
points you're putting up with that are incredible.
or they're comparable to teams that make it all the way through,
Right.
like a Fashion Blanca team. Like the trendy cami puts up the same amount of points in half the amount of time. So if I
Right.
can just keep her alive through that one hit or two hits, that's a
So
big deal.
what would be an ideal team for you? Let's say
I would
you were building Gouken and you were about to utilize him in the event that we have right now, the 3-team event against Ken. What
Okay,
would you do?
yes. I would do Gouken and then probably put Sagat out there.
Okay.
But this is where I have some issues because actually would like to run Gouken, Eva Ryu, Trendy Cami, and probably Elena or Street Poison depending on my need,
Right.
and then put Sagat and Trendy Cami's assist.
I see.
Um,
Yeah.
I think that is a phenomenal shock damage team, and my combo would go Trendy Cami, C1 of your choice, Gouken, Trendy Cami.
Yeah.
And it's just going to keep her doing her kicks, and that's what we
That
want.
sounds amazing for events, to be honest, especially
Yep,
boss fights, right? Like that would be
yep,
an incredible team to use because you're giving your entire team more longevity. You have the heals coming in, so they're
yep.
already going to be hard to take down. Then
Well,
you're
at
going
that
to take
point,
them down, and they're just going to heal and shield all the way back up. Plus, Elena's going to do healing again.
yep. And
That's
I think
amazing.
that at that point you might be able to sub Elena out for like Street Poison coming out of the tag,
Sure.
or something like that.
Just kind of depending on
Um,
what you need for that fight. Go for
yep,
heals, go for more crit damage, whatever you might need.
and I would even put um probably Poison as an assist at that point too.
Yeah.
Um, Send out more of those shock waves and electric whips and those types of things to just keep adding shock and keep Trendy Cami pumping.
Right.
But that's what Gouken does, and he does it really well for her. And so
Yeah.
I'm very, very excited to build the Gouken Trendy Cami team.
It's
However,
it's
Eva
making
Ryu
things
first, guys.
difficult. It's making things difficult.
But in
I'm
your case,
kind of torn
Nova,
now.
in your case, Nova, you don't have Trendy Cami built.
Right, right. So I don't have that like immediate use for him. But
So what
I
would be a
argue,
second fighter we could put in there? But I think just as a third team tank at flat rate, no matter who you have out front as tank,
sure.
whether it's E Honda or Zangief, Gouken's a better tank.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I agree with that completely. He almost has like a Bison mechanic, albeit one time, but
Yeah,
it covers the entire team. So you kind of have the ability to just outlast a Bison team. You don't
yeah,
necessarily. You could almost combat a Bison team with a Gouken team and not even have Evil Ryu be involved,
correct. You might
which
just
is
need the
interesting.
AOE, so you would put him with a Fashion Blanca team.
Sure,
Like
sure,
like Bison just works out front for that team, but he's not really doing anything specific to that
right,
team. But all you need that team to do is stay alive, and it's going to do its damage.
right.
So it maybe then you put Bison in front of your Guile B Zangief team, you
Sure.
know?
Sure.
And then you have Gouken for a Trendy Cami team or a Poison team, in your third team, doing
Right.
AoE or single target depending on your event, or if you're in a ladder match, obviously PvP AoE is kind of king, right?
Right. Yeah. Behind
um,
speed. Speed is definitely the
yeah,
most important, but
speed,
then,
speed and
yeah.
AoE, and then so maybe Trendy Cami is not the best for a ladder match, but in these events, she will be. If you're trying to put up numbers, man, she's a slam
Yeah.
dunk. And keeping her alive,
Right.
gosh.
Well, and even like
So
in HWA, just think about that team though. Think about the Gouken, Evil Ryu, Trendy Cami, Elena team.
yeah,
That is because
how are you going
your
to beat
team's
it?
going to carry forward. It is just going like, what do you do? What do you do against that team?
What do you
What
do?
would be
Because you're
an
not going to kill
actual
it,
counter?
and you can't get through it with a Bison.
Right.
And Trendy Cami is going to annihilate anybody out front.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely a crazy concept to think about, and it'll be interesting to see some testing done. Neither of us are whales in this game or anywhere near that, so to see a testing like that come from us, it's not going to happen anytime soon. But I think it would be very interesting to see that be put to work, especially in something like HW to see how it does. But fighter choice priority here for special summon might have changed,
It may have
but
changed, but that's the point. It depends on who you have and who you are building
right,
and what your needs are. If you're, you know, not really set up to have that third team in place,
right,
then the tank of that team is not going to do you any good.
yeah,
Like, so you have to decide where you are with the game. But I
right,
think if you're in my position where you're, sometime early, late game, somewhere around there,
yep,
like I have three good teams. I
hmm,
really need that tank.
right.
This is my man.
Right. I'm
Like,
still kind of working on my damage situation, so that's why I still am leaning toward Evil Ryu. I'm not going to make a decision yet, um, but I think
Ivo Ryu
yeah,
is really good.
depending
He's
on what
really
you
good.
want to do, that should be your choice. But like DatSkat said earlier, if you're already working on somebody else, don't give it up to start this now. Finish it
Right.
out, see that through, get Akuma or Evil Ryu to SSS, because then you can start pulling them a divination, and then you
Yep.
can move on to someone else. But crazy update today.
I love it.
I'm very
I love
intrigued
it.
to see if I start like coming up against any Goukens like in arena in my server, because that'll be like the telltale sign of like how good is he, because you can only see so much in the
Yeah.
trials. You don't get a proper testing, so I'm excited to hopefully a whale on my end, or not necessarily a whale because I won't stand a chance, but somebody close to my power level picks him up and put some money in to get him so I can see what that fight looks like. But guys, I don't
I'm
know.
hoping
It's
that I
crazy.
can use one as a mercenary one of these times here,
Yeah. Yeah.
because then
Ooh,
I'm
let's see.
putting it with
Does
my trendy
anybody?
Camby team.
Let me see if anybody that I have on my friends list has one as a
I,
mercenary.
I looked and I didn't have
Oh, did
anybody
you?
on mine. Yeah.
Let's see. Nah,
It's day
not that I
one,
can. Not that
you
I can
know.
see. Well, I wasn't even looking in the right area either, to be honest with you. What am I doing? I was checking to see who was trying to use something that I have. No, I don't see
No.
nobody so far.
Okay.
Anyway, guys,
That's
that's
my
gonna
thoughts, guys.
yeah.
I think situationally he might be the best.
It's
But you can say that
it's
about any
possible.
fighter, but
Yeah, true.
uh, that's how I feel.
Yeah, I agree. And we'll see how things turn out. But appreciate you guys stopping by to watch this video. I hope that you found it entertaining at the very least, and maybe even informative, some food for thought for you. Please take a moment to subscribe and throw a like and a comment on the video as well. If you want to join our Discord, we have a link in the description. Hopefully we'll see you guys there and we can chat about all things Street Fighter and Street Fighter Duel. Until next time, guys. Cheers.
Peace.